Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety for the City of Huntington on July 15th, 2024. We'll begin the meeting by calling to order with a roll call.
Mayor Strick,
Present.
Danielle Albertson,
Present.
Megan Bonbrake,
Present.
Anthony Listenicki is absent.
Thank you. Having established a quorum for conducting of business, we'll move along to consideration of the minutes for previous meeting of July 1st, 2024. Is there a motion to bring the minutes to the floor for consideration and adoption?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes as presented? Not hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Not seeing any old business items under the agenda. Moving on to consideration of new business. We have several special event requests today. The first regards the closure of Gregg Street for Huntington North Cross Country Meet. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for consideration?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, and we have with us today Mr. Jeremy Markham, AD at Huntington North. And this is a pretty standard closure, but if you wouldn't mind stating your name and address for the record and just remind board members what we're talking about.
Yeah, Jeremy Markham, Athletic Director at Huntington North High School. Again, just asking for your permission to close Gregg Street on August 24th for our cross-country invite. This is a boys and girls invite. It includes about 30 teams. We utilize Crestview parking lot for the buses, and then Gregg Street allows us to move the student athletes and coaches kind of along that area of the roadway without interference of vehicles and things, because they set up camps in the Crestview grassy area there off Schultz Street. So it does provide at least some relief for them to move freely back and forth from the course and then to their camps.
Questions or discussion by board members?
What's the time frame?
The first race begins at 8 a.m., so we would like to close that off at 7 a.m., and then no later than noon, we would open that back up. Usually it's even before that.
Okay.
Further questions?
And since you've done this before, clearly the neighbors in that area would be notified and have ways to get out and
they
stuff.
usually set the signage out there the day before or so, and then we set it up that morning to get it closed off. So they're usually aware that this event has happened. At least this will be my 4th year with it, and it was a number of years prior to myself as well. So.
Is there anyone directly on that road that lives? My parents live right over by there, but I can't recall. if
Right
it's-
on the corner. There's one right on the
That one
corner
house
of
in the corner.
College. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
And then one at the corner of Schultz there.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. And if
Okay.
they needed to get in and out, we could definitely accommodate them.
Further questions? Not hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of approval of the special event request for the closure of Gregg Street on August 24th from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next special event request that we have is the second annual back-to-school block party on McCrum Street. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. And with us today, we have one of the organizers. If you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
Jamie Leon, 233 West McCrum Street.
Okay, welcome back and walk us through the event.
Okay. We'd like to shut down, there's alleyways on each corner, basically, so that way people can still go through and get out, but just between the two alleys. So, same as last year. Nothing's going to be blocking the street. Everything will be up on people's yards and just basically keeping kids safe while we have a cookout and let them play.
Did you have any feedback from last year that you thought you would change for this year?
No, it went pretty well. I mean, we're gonna cut down some of the games. It's a little hectic. So, but yeah, I mean, it went over pretty well, other than the rain that came in later that day. So hopefully we don't have that again this year.
So you said it's not necessarily the street, it's in the sidewalk and the yards?
Yeah, all the stuff that we're gonna be doing is off on the yards and sidewalks, but we closed down the street because the kids would like to play and
Okay.
ride their bikes and stuff. And we do it on a regular anyway, but all the parents stay out in the road and we yell car and make them get off the road. So, but this way it just stays safe and we can all just kind of enjoy our time together before they go back to school.
And it's been discussed with the department heads and everything and all that? Okay.
Further questions or discussion? And Jamie, remind me again the date and the time frame for the closure?
April 3rd at 3:30 PM. Or April, sorry.
I was like,
August?
oh, okay. We're really pre-planning.
I've had a long day today.
That was August 3rd, and what
Yes.
time?
3:30 PM.
Okay. And reopening at what time?
I'd say probably about 7, 8 o'clock.
Okay. Let's go 8 o'clock.
Okay?
Further questions or discussion? Not hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of approval of the request for the closure on McCrum Street on August 3rd from 3:30 PM to 8 PM. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Have fun. Next item is a car wash located at TCB Games on July 21st. Is there a motion to open discussion and consideration?
So moved.
And second? So,
Do you want me to?
wonderful. If you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Lori Rice, 6335 North, 200 East, Huntington.
Great.
Tina Stouter, 539 3rd Street, Huntington.
All right, Lori, Tina, welcome. Tell us a little bit about your event and and what you're looking for from the board today.
Sunday, July 21st, we would like to do a car wash bake sale at TCB Games from noon to 4. We're going to have the bake sale in the basement of TCB Games, some kids' activities, hot dogs, chips, all proceeds going to the shelter. We did originally ask for a street closure on Warren Street, but after speaking with Mayor Strict, he suggested that we ask for no parking on the one side closest to TCB, to do the car wash there, pull the cars in parallel, and then they can pull out and go down Tipton.
Further question or discussion by board members? One item of note, of course, is just to ensure that any debris that's washed off the vehicles, if that can get swept up and removed
Yes.
afterward, that'd be great. Anything else? And Tim, we're good with it being just the pull-off there through the parking spots? So I've heard.
Better with the work on Tipton. Right.
Yep. Okay. So with that, then, we'll call the question in favor of the request to temporarily enforce a no parking order to allow for a car wash and bake sale on July 21st at TCB Games. What are the hours again on the car
Noon
wash?
to 4.
Noon to 4. Thank you. With that, we'll call the question in favor. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Oh, aye.
You don't have a conflict, actually. So,
I say I didn't know if I had
Yep.
to abstain from that.
thank you. Motion carries, and it is granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we have Director Kutchers presenting the U.S. Forest Service Grant Agreement. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Kutchers.
Yes, thank you. Probably a little bit over a year ago now, the city to the U.S. Forest Service to receive a grant for a tree canopy improvement, basically a bunch of tree plantings to improve the overall tree canopy around the city. The grant consisted of planting trees in a few disadvantaged neighborhoods, as well as beginning the development of a tree nursery. The city ultimately was awarded a $1 million grant to start this program. The agreement that I have before the board today would be between the city and American Forest. We are actually a sub-awardee on this grant through American Forest, ultimately through the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Forest Service. So what I am asking for today is the board's approval for the mayor to sign this agreement so that we can receive our funds and begin working through this tree planting program.
Further question or discussion by board members?
Is it a variety of trees, or do we have one specific?
It would be native species.
Okay,
That is
good, thank
the limit
you.
right there.
Good. Okay.
When do we foresee planting to begin?
So step one, well, once we get through all of the paperwork and everything, would be to get somebody, begin to look at getting somebody on staff here at the city to help with this, and then work through it. Typically, trees are planted in the spring and in the fall, so it'll be a little while before we start to work through it. It is a 4-year grant.
Okay.
So we do have 4 years to work through this.
Great.
Further question or discussion? Not hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of approval of authorizing signatures to receive federal grant monies for tree canopy improvements throughout the city of Huntington and disadvantaged communities. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a stormwater sewer easement release and dedication. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second?
Motion and second. Director Crutchers.
Yes, so we're not actually asking for any action from the board today. We were originally intending to, but not all of the documentation has made it to us yet. But essentially what this will be in the future is the dedication of a new storm sewer line and easement over it, and the abandonment of an existing easement around as it all relates to the addition at the new Ace Hardware on the south side. Through the development of that, it was determined that there's a storm sewer line underneath where Ace intended to expand. We worked with them, Brent and I did, to reroute that. The contractor installed it as part of the work that was done. And one of the requirements is that it gets installed, as-built get provided to the city, and a new easement gets dedicated over the top of it so that we can continue to maintain it going forward. So that is something that will be coming to the board in the future. There is no action needed from you at this time. Bryn, do you have anything else?
I think at the end of the day, we'll expect to have that hopefully back next Monday at your special
Possibly at the
meeting.
Special meeting.
If not, then it'll obviously be waiting another 2 weeks. I know they're eager to get things done, and this is one of the last 2 things that are outstanding before they get their full occupancy of the entire project.
So with that then, is there a motion to table until the required documentation is received?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration on the motion to table? Not hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of tabling. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item from Director Cutress is Traffic Signal Modernization Agreement with USI. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Cutress.
Yes. Currently, the city owns and operates 3 traffic signals, one at LaFontaine and West Park Drive, one at Market and First Street, and the third one being at Bryant and State Street. None of these traffic signals have received any substantial improvements in probably the last 15 years or more, and it is becoming increasingly difficult for Superintendent Bischoff to keep them operational. So we have enlisted the help of USI consultants to help the city upgrade all of the necessary equipment, the traffic signal cabinets, the wiring, the signal heads, as well as add pedestrian signals to all 3 of these intersections, and work to get all these updated. The agreement between the city and USI would be for $164,600. Funds were recently approved through City Council through an additional appropriation at their last meeting to cover this agreement. So it would be my recommendation that the board authorize the mayor to sign this agreement so that we can begin working to upgrade our traffic signals.
Further questions or discussion by board members? Not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of authorization of the agreement with USI. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not aware of any miscellaneous items for the good of the order, then we'll move along to consideration of accounts payable. Is there a motion to authorize payment of the bills incurred by the city of Huntington?
So moved.
Second?
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration? Not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of approving and authorizing payment of the bills incurred by the City of Huntington since our last meeting. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for adjournment. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.